Super excited. All right. Almost everything gets easier when you box it into a framework. Let me tell you about that. I'm Sarah Olivieri, and I love helping nonprofit CEOs run their organizations like clockwork so they can make a bigger impact. And one thing that's really interesting about making decisions, making things run better is we're often told to think outside of the box. But you know what makes thinking outside of the box easier? Adding constraints to how we can do it. If I say, draw me a picture, you might go, I don't know, Sarah, what should I draw a picture of? If I say, draw me a picture using only an orange crayon and a regular computer sized sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11, you might start getting an idea. What if I say, draw me a picture using only a crayon on a regular sheet of paper, and you can't lift your crayon at all from the paper? As soon as you do, you're done, right? I bet now your brain is going, ding, 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 ding. How can I do? What kind of shape can I make, right? So this is how our brains work. You give them some constraints, and then they think outside of the box, which is why having strategic frameworks or frameworks that help you clarify your goals and come up with interesting, effective tactics that are going to achieve those goals is so helpful. Let me give you an example. So today in our Thrive coaching call, I had a question from one of the Thrivers about what kind of activities we can do to do team building, right? Not just like going off to a retreat and getting massages or doing a high ropes course or stuff like that, but things we can actually do inside our organization. Now, of course, first of all, we're just thinking, oh, here's an idea, here's something that I've done. But my brain goes right to, how can we apply a framework? What's really going on here? How can we break team building activities into the subcomponents? And then very quickly, there are 3 components to team building, right? Team building is just like marketing, which is just like relationship building. It's all relationship building. And there are a few basic steps that always apply to relationship building of all kinds. So my brain's going, okay, what is the basic framework for relationship building? Well, marketers love to say they've got to know, like, and trust you. And in fact, it's a little more complicated than that. I found if you really break down the process of getting to know somebody, first they have to trust you a little. Then they have to get to know you. Then before they'll really kind of commit to taking a deeper action with you, then they have to trust you a lot more. So we're going to assume that your team, your employees, well, they've already done that get to know you a bit and they've taken an action. So now we're left with, if we want to build our teams, we've got to really dig into knowing each other and trusting each other. And one more piece. But first, let's break down those 2. So first, you want your team to get to know each other as people, right? And that is going to build trust. But as they get to know, so how do we get to know each other? Who has kids? Who plays an instrument, right? Learning some personal facts that actually help us find the other person interesting, know what to talk about, or find areas where we have things in common can be incredibly bonding and help people get to know each other. Then there's all sorts of trust activities. This is number 2, trust activities that help people learn that they can trust one another. But there's something else we need our team to trust in if we want them to really work well as a team. We need to have them trust in our organization. And sometimes that means trusting a leader, right? But we need to also trust in our organizations, our businesses, systems, and processes, right? And so here are the 3 things. These are the 3 buckets. So if I say we need to do team development, we need some activities that help each other get to know each other personally. We need some activities that help each other trust each other as humans. And we need a third set of activities that helps our team trust in the organization they all work for. Not just the leadership as people. It's different for you to trust me as a leader and you'll do what I ask because you trust it and the way that I ask it and the way. But that is different than trusting in our organization's systems and processes. And I think that's one thing that so many people miss. And I might have missed it too if I hadn't have taken the moment to break down the framework that we're operating in. So now I have 3 clear goals, right? What makes it a strategic framework? What makes it a strategy? It has to have goals and tactics to achieve those goals. So effective strategic framework for making a more aligned team, bringing your current team closer. We now have 3 goals and thus 3 sets or multiple sets of tactics within each goal. This is a strategic framework. The framework is actually telling us our basic goals. Number 1, learn about each other. Number 2, trust each other. Number 3, trust our organization, right? Our systems and processes mainly is what we're talking about there. Wow. So that's a 2-for-1, right? Because we talked about how to do team development, but we're also talking about how to think through a problem by breaking it, by applying a little strategic framework. Now, some of us have been doing this long enough, or we have brains that work in a certain way that we can make up strategic frameworks on the fly. But you don't need that ability in order to have success. You can make a practice of learning strategic frameworks like I've just taught you now, and then you can apply them. And I have so many little bitty frameworks. These don't have to be big, complicated things. They can be little bitty frameworks. If you would like some more examples of little bitty frameworks that help me and all my thrivers make decisions like they were a piece of cake, and totally simplify our lives and clear the clutter in our brains and get out of the weeds, let me know. I'd be super happy to give you some more examples. If you would like to be in the room with my thrivers, those amazing, wonderful CEOs having me create or deliver a framework to help you solve your most pressing problems just for you, then I encourage you to apply to the Thrive program at pivotground.com/application. Or if you just want to hear these tidbits in email and find out what else is going on and how I'm thinking about things in the nonprofit world, you can go to pivotground.com/sign up. And I would be happy to welcome you into our larger community of thrivers, those amazing nonprofit CEOs who say, there's got to be a better way. We're not going to just wait for an opportunity to fall in our lap. We're going to make that opportunity happen, and many more